Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now I've been away for a while dealing with some family matters, but with that behind us now, it's great to be back with you. For those new to the channel, you should know I typically make videos about what it's like living in Oklahoma, specifically focusing on life here in central Oklahoma. Now what you may be surprised to learn is that people are flocking to Oklahoma from all across the U.S., but especially from a few key states as you can see here on this recent map. It's called a migration map that I got from Redfin. I've made videos in the past about why people are moving here from California and also from Colorado. If you're interested in watching those, the links are shown here and up here. And so today's video follows that same formula. We'll be talking about why people from Washington State are also deciding to make Oklahoma home. Comment down below if you've made the move anywhere on the West Coast to Oklahoma. How are you feeling about your decision? Glad you made the switch? I'd love to hear from you. Now, admittedly, I've never been to Washington State. But earlier this year, my son visited some of his old college friends living in Seattle, and he came back raving about the place, having visited all the typical tourist attractions: the Space Needle, Seattle Harbor, Pike Place Market, and Chihuly Gardens, not to mention beautiful Mount Rainier. Unfortunately, being the sports nut that he is and visiting in early spring, he was disappointed that he couldn't take in either a Seattle Seahawks football game or a Seattle Mariners baseball game. He told me that the Seattle residents are still chapped about the NBA Seattle Supersonics moving to Oklahoma City in 2008 and becoming the now reigning 2025 NBA World Champion Oklahoma City Thunder. But I digress, that's a topic for another video. So with all this natural beauty and so many cool things to do, why are people bailing and leaving the state? And more specifically, why Oklahoma? Well, as it turns out, my research shows that people are leaving here for the very same reasons they're packing up and leaving California and Colorado. Reasons that go beyond the typical things like moving because, of a job change or to be closer to family. So in today's video, I'll go over each of these reasons that just might explain why people are currently packing up and leaving Washington State. I'll do a deeper dive into each category, comparing Washington to Oklahoma, and based on these comparisons, summarize why I believe Oklahoma is attracting many of these folks. Just like California and Colorado, oftentimes the main reason that people are seeking a change of scenery here in Oklahoma is simply because they're looking for a much more affordable place to live. More on that in a bit. But before we dive in, let me introduce myself real quick. My name is Lynn Taggart. I'm a licensed realtor and YouTuber here in central Oklahoma. I'm also a lifelong Oklahoma City resident. I make my YouTube videos to try and help people thinking about making a move here understand just what living here is like, shooting straight with you on both the pros and the cons, to help you decide if this is the place for you and your family before you make the big leap and actually make the move. Goes without saying, but not doing your due diligence ahead of time could result in a very expensive mistake. Hey, I've seen it happen. So to avoid that gigantic landmine, let me help you with your research. Want to learn more about living in Oklahoma or thinking about a possible move here in the future? Check out my new website, lyntaggartrealtor.com. The link is shown in the description below. There you can request a comprehensive Oklahoma relocation guide, which is jam-packed with helpful information about this place, and also conveniently book a Zoom call to talk with me, whether you're interested in buying or selling. I look forward to speaking to you very soon. Do me a huge favor while we're at it and hit the like and subscribe buttons, and this lets the YouTube algorithm, you enjoy the content I'm putting out. Frankly, it keeps me motivated to make these little jewels. So without further ado, in no particular order, here are the 5 key reasons I think people are ditching Washington State and heading to Oklahoma. Let me know, did I get the list right? And if not, which ones did I miss? Now, if you're thinking about leaving or have already left, what about your situation is driving your decision? Let me know in the comments down below. Number 1, cost of living. Now, this one's a biggie and where Oklahoma really shines in comparison to all the other states, including Washington. Comparing the 2 states nationally, according to U.S. News and World Reports for 2025, Oklahoma now ranks at number 4. By the way, the lower the number, the better, when it comes to having the lowest cost of living in the United States. By contrast, Washington comes in way down the list at number 47. So that's a comparison on a statewide basis. What about each state's largest cities, Seattle and Oklahoma City? Well, as you would expect, the trend continues. Comparing Oklahoma City to Seattle, according to a study by NerdWallet, the overall cost of living in Seattle is 72% higher than Oklahoma City. And put that another way, a $50,000 salary in Oklahoma City would require a $86,000 salary in Seattle to maintain the same standard of living. Breaking the numbers down further by category, Seattle's housing costs are 220% higher than Oklahoma City's. More on that in a bit. Transportation costs, primarily gas prices, are 32% higher. Food costs 25% higher. Entertainment costs 37% higher. Healthcare costs are 31% higher. And taken as a group, it's not hard to see why folks are packing up and heading to the Center State, not just from Washington, but from all over the U.S., especially the West Coast. And with that, let's jump to number 2, housing costs. They're significantly higher, as I just mentioned. No two ways about it, the gap between what housing costs in Washington State and what it costs in Oklahoma, it's astounding. According to U.S. News and World Reports again for 2025, when it comes to housing affordability, Oklahoma comes in at number 7, with Washington way down the list again at number 45. Yep, the advantage here clearly goes to Oklahoma. The dollar difference in median home prices is kind of jaw-dropping. Don't believe me? Check out these numbers. According to Redfin, median home price in August 2025 in Seattle, Washington was $900,000, up 6.5% in the last year. By comparison, median home price in Oklahoma City in August was only $254,000, 70% less than Seattle, folks. Prices in Oklahoma City increased 1.3% year over year. Check out these actual listings from Realtor.com. Okay, here's what $900,000 gets you in Seattle. Okay, here's the first one. This little ditty comes in at $899,000. It's a 2-bed, 1-bath house, pretty nondescript, 1,600 square feet, thereabouts. And nothing really that stands out. It's just kind of a basic house. So how about this one? Let's go to the second one. This little jewel comes in at $890,000. It's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house. It's way smaller, 1,260 square feet. And this last one goes for $938,000. It's a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. It's 1,250 square feet. It's a really small house. Not much house for the money in Seattle. All right, so let's go to Oklahoma City. It's a little bit different picture. For $899,000, how about this little bungalow? 4-bed, 5-bath, over 4,000 square feet, sits on over 5 acres of property. Number 2, need a lot of bedrooms? For $880,000, you can have a 6-bed, 5-bath, 3,900 square foot house with a pool. And to round out the 3, check this out. For $875,000, less than the average price in Seattle, you get a 5-bed, 4.5 bath, 5,000 square foot house. Not too shabby. I think you get the picture. Your housing dollars go way, way further in Oklahoma. I've had clients visit here from the West Coast that are just blown away with how much house you can get for your money compared to where they're living now. Seriously, if you're living on the West Coast right now and you're watching this video, I can't help but wonder, with housing costs this high, how do you people do it? I can't even fathom what your mortgage payments must be. All right, number 3, crime. Not only is Washington State a more expensive place to live, but in many ways it's also a more dangerous place to live. The FBI's crime statistics from 2023, the most recent ones I've found, bear this out. So when you talk about crime statistics, you should know that the FBI's crime data falls into 2 categories: violent crimes and property crimes. And when combined, they're reported as total crimes. When it comes to total crimes committed, Washington came in as the 4th most dangerous state in the United States. Again, the lower the number, the worse the crime. Yikes. Oklahoma came in at number 14. Not great, but certainly better than Washington. What's worse is that Washington's numbers are getting worse, not better. Let's break those numbers down into violent crimes versus property crimes. So just what does violent crime consist of? Truly unpleasant things like murder, manslaughter, rape, aggravated assault, armed robbery, and kidnapping. Property crimes typically consist of things like burglary, larceny, auto theft, and arson. In this case, when it comes to violent crimes, Washington is ranked slightly better than Oklahoma, coming in mid-pack at number 23 versus Oklahoma's number 16. But where Washington really struggles is in the area of property crimes. They come in as having the 5th worst property crime rate in the United States. Oklahoma's way down the list at number 24. Now, what about each state's largest cities, Seattle and Oklahoma City? Well, any huge difference there? Well, in Oklahoma City, they recorded 676 violent crimes for every 100,000 people. Seattle came in slightly higher at 775 violent crimes per 100,000 people. Not a huge difference, but check this out. When it comes to property crimes, Seattle blows Oklahoma City away, and not in a good way. In 2023, Seattle recorded over 5,000 property crimes for every 100,000 people, while Oklahoma City was much, much lower at a little under 2,900 property crimes for 100,000 people. 42% lower to be precise. Bottom line is, at the end of the day, generally speaking, on a statewide basis, Oklahoma is a safer place than Washington. And when it comes to each state's largest city, Oklahoma City is definitely a safer place to live than Seattle. Number 4, homelessness. Now, this is a sad category no matter how you try to analyze it, regardless of where you live, and I'll just touch on this one briefly. Unfortunately, Washington's largest city, Seattle, has one of the largest homeless populations in the United States, coming in at number 3, behind number 2, LA, and number 1, New York City. In terms of numbers, Seattle's homeless population totals nearly 17,000 unsheltered homeless people. Washington's next highest city, Tacoma, has about 2,700 unsheltered homeless. And like the crime statistics I just mentioned, the homeless numbers for Seattle are increasing, not decreasing. It's shocking to note that since 2022, Seattle's homeless population has increased by, get this, 23%. By contrast, Oklahoma as a state has only about 2,600 homeless folks total. Again, for the entire state. Broken out by city, Oklahoma City's homeless population numbers less than 1,500, with Tulsa coming in around 1,100. It's quite the contrast. Number 5, politics. Okay, I say the most controversial reason that folks are leaving, apparently, to the very end. Sadly, politics in America, as we all know, is now more divisive than ever. Nowhere is that divide more apparent than when comparing the politics of Washington State to the politics of Oklahoma. About as stark of a difference as possible. Now, let me state up front that when it comes to talking about politics on my channel, my policy is I don't take sides. Suffice it to say, I am Switzerland when it comes to this topic. I am neutral. I'll just leave it at that. So comparing the two states, first up, let's talk Washington politics. And to be clear here, I'm not talking about Washington, D.C. I'm talking about the state. Decades ago, Washington State began to turn Democratic, and now Washington is very blue and a hotbed of liberal politics. Just how blue is the state? Well, for starters, Washington is a sanctuary state. Both of their senators are Democrats. 8 of its 10 U.S. representatives are Democrats. Washington's governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, secretary of state are all Democrats. In fact, most of Washington State's office holders are Democrats. Get this, the state is so blue that Washington hasn't elected a Republican governor in over 40 years. 40 years. Most of its state representatives and senators are also Democrats. Trump's opponent in the 2024 presidential election, Kamala Harris, won the state of Washington in its 12 electoral votes with an 18-point victory over Trump, 57 to 39%. Now, contrast that with Oklahoma. Oklahoma is red, very red. And surprise, surprise, Oklahoma is not a sanctuary state. Both of Oklahoma's U.S. senators are Republican. All 5 of our representatives are Republican. Our governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, secretary of state are all Republicans. Most of the state representatives and senators are also Republican. In the 2024 presidential election, Trump won all 77 counties in the state and garnered 66% of the vote, capturing all 7 of Oklahoma's electoral votes. Oklahoma and West Virginia, by the way, are the only 2 states in the country where every single county voted for Trump. And no surprise here, both states are solid red. I talk about just how conservative Oklahoma is in this video here. As you can see on the map showing the results of the 2024 presidential election in Washington, there is a large, mostly rural portion of the state that is in fact Republican and voted Republican in the last election. However, make no mistake, all the major metropolitan areas in the state, Seattle, Tacoma, etc., are considered very liberal. And the fact remains, Washington state government is tightly controlled by Democrats who embrace and routinely implement liberal policies. And for that reason, a certain percentage of Washington residents, ones that hold on to more conservative values, are increasingly becoming fed up with the situation, leading many to pack up and flat out leave the state as a result. And as it turns out, a lot of these folks are ending up in red state Oklahoma, where a more conservative ideology is prevalent and where they will likely find themselves surrounded by others that share their same traditional values. Of course, as previously discussed, I'm sure that Oklahoma's lower cost of living, much more affordable housing, and more favorable crime stats are also big contributing factors when deciding to leave the state and make the move here. So yes, folks are packing up and leaving Washington, and many of them are heading to Oklahoma to live. We have a lot to offer, but is Oklahoma a perfect place? No, not at all, but no place is. And in this video shown here, I talk about all the reasons why you should not move to Oklahoma. We most definitely have our quirks, but the vast majority of folks I've spoken to have found a home here, love it, and intend to stay. If you're interested in learning more about this place, I encourage you to check out my contact information on my website. Again, it's lyntaggartrealtor.com. And there you can order a cool, informative Oklahoma relocation guide, and more importantly, book a Zoom call where I can answer all of your questions about what living here is all about. But before we get out of here, do me a big favor again and hit those like and subscribe buttons. I really appreciate the gesture. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and God bless you for sticking around to the end. I hope you found this information helpful. That's it for this edition. We'll see you again soon. Take care, everyone, and hey, be safe out there. Till next time, bye-bye.